So when you first equip the weapon, you have, depending on whether it has a scope or not, you have the scope, and you have the iron sight. Now, if you want to switch between scope and iron sight, you have the scope like that. And you can also left control and middle mouse to change the illumination of the crosshairs. It's good for low light conditions. And you can switch weapon optics by holding left control and right mouse. Then you got the iron sight. And then you can range it with page up and page down. How I prefer using this sight. Now this might seem a bit confusing at first, so I'm going to explain how it works. So you have two scales. On the left it says M, you can see the M. On the right it says the Cyrillic letter for L. And I think those are calibrations for two different warheads. However, currently in the game there's only one type of warhead, which is the RPG-7V1, which is a anti-tank round. So we have to use the left scale with the M. Okay, I'll start from the top. You see that cross at the top? That's your ranging for below 100 meters. Well, I think 50 meters. Basically, if the target is really close to you, you just aim with that cross. And if you want to shoot at something that's 200 meters away, you look at the left side below the M, where it says 200. Let's say if that truck would be 200 meters away, I would aim like that. If it was 300 meters away, I would aim like that. 400, 500. But how can you tell how far something is? Okay, the game has a built-in range, or the scope rather, has a built-in rangefinder. You see that curvy thing on the bottom right? See that? First I'm going to go crouch. Perhaps I can even go prone to stabilize the aim a bit more. Okay, I see that character over here. Now what you have to do to range find distance, you have to align with the feet of the character and where the head is on that curve. As you can see here, that character is probably, I would say, about around 400 meters in distance. Okay, so we have 400 meters ranged in. Let's see if the ranging is correct. I'm going to aim for the truck next to the character. So again, we have to use the left scale, which is that line. I'm going to aim for the door of the truck, and I'm going to shoot. I hit a bit higher, but on top of the truck. Now, the next cool thing I'd like to show you is how detailed the ballistics is of this weapon system. So, as I mentioned, it's an anti-tank round. It says here, high explosive anti-tank round with 70mm warhead. Now, what it does basically, it hits something, then it penetrates, and then it sprays fragments after the penetration in the direction with an expanding cone of the trajectory of the fire. So I got another truck over here that's hidden behind these wooden boards over here. Now from the range finding, I would approximate, if we let's just imagine a standing man next to it, that's about, let's say 250 meters. So I'm going to aim like that. Okay, I hit directly between those two. That's the impact point of the warhead. Okay, see here that large hole. Let's look on the other side. See here it fragmented into pieces after the impact. See the expanding cone. You see here it went through there. Sprayed into the vehicle like that and set it on fire. Now the game doesn't have, I think, a normal hit point system. It has, I think, different components, and if some of those get hit, they might cause the vehicle to catch fire. That's why it still says Arma 75%. 95%. You can see here, fragments went here through that. Let's see what happened next. It went through the door, probably killing or at least wounding both passengers in the car. Then it went out through the door. See all the fragments coming through here. That's a bit hard to see. See here, another fragment going through that. And on the other side, this is one fragment I made through here, another one here, another one here. So what you can see here is that it impacted here, started spraying, created a large pattern of fragments into the truck, through the truck, because it's just sheet metal, except for the engine block, and it even had lethal fragments coming out to the side. So what we can learn from that is that on the impact point itself, you won't do much damage. It will just be the initial explosion, but what happens in an expanding cone is behind the point of impact. So for the next demonstration, I've placed the BTR and I've put an infantry squad inside. Let's see what happens when RPG-7 hits it. So I'm going to go crouch, so I have better aim. And I'm going to aim for one side of the vehicle. Let's go to Game Master, pause the game. On the outside, it doesn't seem like there was much damage done to the vehicle. Okay, let's look what happened inside. So it impacted over here. See what happened here. It impacted on that point, fragmented in that direction most of the time. And as you can see here, most of the characters are still okay. Some of them have just some small amount of bleeding, I think. Okay, it went in right here. You can see the fragments impacted. I think the main impact point is right here below. The fragment in that direction, so the driver got hit. Went through the driver, it hit the gunner. It hit the person behind the gunner. This guy's knocked out. And this guy's knocked out too, I think. Oh wait, this guy's actually just in an animation of trying to get out of the vehicle, but he's seriously wounded, as you can see. 43% health. So in the last part of the demonstration, I'd like to show you how to use the RPG-7 in urban combat against other players. Because most of the time you won't have enemy BTRs to shoot at, because they're pretty rare in conflict. And there's one thing to consider when shooting at players in buildings. Okay, so first I'm going to... Let's assume there's somebody in that window. First I'm going to shoot out the window. And I'm going to shoot the RPG through it. Okay, as you can see here, it went through the window, impacted the wall behind him. So if the shooter was at the window shooting outside, it would have detonated far behind him, probably not damaging the shooter in the window. Went through the wall, and here it started fragmenting on the other side, and then it came out, and notice here the expanding cone pattern of the fragments. So you would have seriously hurt anybody in the next hallway behind it, but the shooter in the window is likely safe. So the better option would be, if there's a shooter in the window, is to either hit next to the window or below the window. So I'm going to shoot next to the window. Let's see what happened, and we pause. Okay, we had impact over here. And it came out here, fragmenting, and now you can see a large spray of fragments coming out of the room. Now, it depends where the shooter was. If he was on this side of the window, he likely wouldn't have get hit by the fragments. But if he's standing on this side of the window, I think the detonation of the fragments exploding on this side also does some damage. And then you got the expanding cone pattern going out like this, in this direction. So other people in the room would also might have get hurt.